UFO sightings and all sorts of extraterrestrial activity in this area.
Some places on Earth really defy any human explanation.
And the reason for compasses going crazy and radios not working is that the electromagnetic field here is as strong as on the North Pole.
And now there's a new one that has people questioning whether extraterrestrial beings exist.
Now the question is, why is the electromagnetic field so incredibly strong here?
Can you see that? Let's zoom in. What's that in there?
1. A Japanese mystery. I'm about to tell you something that will flip everything you thought you knew about history right on its head. Are you ready for this? The setting is the rolling hills of Japan's Tochigi Prefecture, where hidden away like an interstellar time capsule lies a secret that shouldn't even exist. At least, not according to everything we've been taught. This is an ancient, mind-bogglingly massive underground structure, and when researchers explored it for the first time, they realized something crazy. This place was built before Noah's flood. Yeah, that flood. That alone is enough to make you stop in your tracks, but then chew on this. How in the universe did ancient people carve out something this colossal with tools so primitive they might as well have been using spoons? Enough with the intro, I'm just gonna tell you what this place is now. I'm talking about the Oya Stone Quarry, this crazy hidden wonder buried beneath Utsunomiya City. Japan is known for its rich megalithic history, but the wild thing is most of its massive stone structures haven't even been fully explored yet. There's so much more to go. And the Oya Quarry is something else. They call it the unknown space, and let me tell you, that name fits perfectly because we barely understand how it was built, let alone why. The underground caverns stretch for thousands of square meters, carved from a unique volcanic rock called Oya Stone. This stuff isn't like anything else on Earth. It's a hardened mix of ancient lava and ash that settled into the landscape, and somehow, people from thousands of years ago managed to sculpt it into this labyrinth of huge chambers and towering walls. Now, sure, they say it was done purely through human effort, just a whole lot of grueling labor. But come on. Even with today's cutting-edge construction tech, replicating this would be a serious challenge. For centuries, Oya stone was considered sacred, which makes sense because the sheer scale of these underground halls is almost godlike. Even Buddhist monks thought something otherworldly was at play, carving massive sculptures like the Oya Magebutsu straight into the rock face. Shrines and temples across the region were built using this stone, almost as if people instinctively knew it had some kind of special significance. And I really think it did. 2. Human beings show up. Despite its mystical past, the site has been treated with zero respect in modern times. The quarry was ruthlessly mined for building materials during the World Wars, leaving behind a vast, broken-up maze of empty spaces underground. We're talking about caverns so massive they could hide an entire spaceship, if they weren't already hiding something even stranger. So, the real question is, did ancient humans carve this place out by sheer determination, or did they have a little extra help? Because when you look at the sheer size, precision, and age of the Oya Quarry, the idea that early civilizations built it all on their own starts to sound just as unbelievable as the idea of aliens themselves. But hey, maybe that's the point. Is anyone investigating the issue though? 3. The caves today. What was probably an ancient alien base, or at least something way beyond human capability, has now been turned into a full-blown tourist attraction. Classic. The Oya History Museum has taken over part of an old quarry that was actively mined up until 1986. We're talking about a cavern roughly the size of a baseball field, and now it's hosting concerts, art exhibitions, and all kinds of events. You can even wander through this underground labyrinth yourself, assuming you don't stumble across a hidden chamber full of secrets we're not supposed to find. And it's not just the caves. This whole area is built on Oya stone. The Haiwa Cannon Peace statue, a massive 27-meter-tall figure carved straight into the rock, watches over the town. Then there's some of the oldest Buddhist reliefs in Japan, impressive stone architecture all over the place, and even a former quarry-turned-museum that's been used in movies, TV dramas, and music videos. Yeah, Hollywood has been here. Makes you wonder what they know. Meanwhile, in Utsunomiya, you'll find landmarks like the former Shinohara family residence and Matsugamine Catholic Church, one of the largest buildings made from Oya stone still standing. And if you're the adventurous type, Oya Underground actually lets people walk through old tunnels, take boat cruises on an underground lake, and experience the eerie silence of these ancient quarries firsthand. Oh, and if you need a break from the alien mysteries, Wakayama Farm offers berry and chestnut picking, scenic bamboo grove strolls, and matcha green tea. Also, Utsunomiya is apparently the place for cycling, rent a bike, ride around, and maybe pedal past something history forgot to mention. It's all hustle bustle. Somewhere, the aliens are probably shaking their heads watching their once mysterious hideout get turned into a sightseeing destination. Who knows what kind of lost technology is still embedded in these stone walls? But hey, at least the gyozas here are legendary. Priorities, right? Anyway, this is just one strange spot on Earth. There are plenty more weird, possibly extraterrestrial places that need my attention. 4. Adams Bridge, or should I say, Alien Landing Strip. So back in 2002, NASA released satellite images of the Palk Strait, and guess what they found? A 30-kilometer chain of limestone shoals connecting India's Pamban Island to Sri Lanka's Mannar Island. Seems normal enough, right? Wrong. Historical records say this used to be a solid land bridge that people could actually walk across until a cyclone wrecked it in the 15th century. Western cartographers have been calling it Adams Bridge since the 1800s, but in India, it's known as Rama's Bridge or Rama Setu. According to the Ramayana, this isn't just some random pile of rocks. It's the legendary Setubandhanam, a bridge built by the Hindu god Rama and his army of monkey warriors to rescue his kidnapped wife from a demon king with 10 heads. That's right, I'm talking divine intervention, epic battles, and some serious ancient engineering. Now, apparently scientists at India's Bharathidasan University took samples and estimated the bridge is between 3,500 and 5,000 years old. But depending on the sample, the dating varies. Convenient, right? Let's take a second to talk about the physics of it all, because this bridge doesn't even make sense. The heavier rocks are sitting on top of lighter sand. That's not how gravity works, folks. Some researchers, like Chelsea Rose from Southern Oregon University, think this means the rocks were placed there on purpose. Others say, oh, it's just natural wave action. Sure. Look, you could believe this was built by an ancient civilization with technology we don't understand. Or you could go with the more obvious answer. Aliens helped build it. Let's be honest, there's so many locations on our planet where aliens are basically screaming, "Hello, we exist." Don't believe me? I'll prove it to you. 5. The Devil's Sea. Everybody knows about the Bermuda Triangle, right? That infamous stretch of ocean where planes and ships mysteriously disappear? Well, guess what? The Pacific Ocean has its own creepy vortex of doom, the Devil's Sea, or Manumi if you're feeling fancy. I really think this place doesn't get the attention it deserves. For centuries, Japanese fishermen have been vanishing into these waters without a trace. And it's not just ancient history. Modern ships and aircraft have been swallowed up by this violent stretch of ocean, leaving behind zero evidence, zero distress signals, and a whole lot of questions. Now, personally, I know this is the work of extraterrestrial or paranormal forces lurking both above and below the waves. But of course, skeptics aka the fun police want to blame it on natural phenomena. Sure, January. Because that explains how military-grade aircraft disappear mid-flight on a clear day. Oh, and let's talk about those 20-plus US Navy submarines that mysteriously vanished in this area during World War II. No wreckage, no official explanations, just gone. If you think the military doesn't know what's going on here, I have some beachfront property on Mars to sell you. This whole region stretches from Miyake Island to the Bonin Islands, and even parts of the Philippine Sea south of Japan. And according to legend, it's been causing chaos for centuries. Back in the 13th century, Mongol leader Kublai Khan sent a fleet of 900 ships carrying 40,000 soldiers to invade Japan. They were supposed to team up with another 100,000 troops for a total wipeout. Instead, a divine wind swept in, obliterated the fleet, and sent the Mongols running for their lives. Now, some historians say this was just a well-timed typhoon. But let's be real. What if it wasn't just weather? What if something else was watching, manipulating, protecting Japan from invasion? Aliens have been hanging around here for a long time, my friends. And you know where else they've been? Mexico. 6. The Zone of Silence, the Aliens' Summer Home. Smack in the middle of nowhere, there's a 50-kilometer wide patch of land where everything electronic just gives up. Radios, useless. Compasses, good luck. The place is literally called the Zone of Silence because the second you step into it, signals vanish into thin air. It's in the Chihuahuan Desert in case you fancy a trip. Why is this place so anti-electronics? Oh, the experts have some theories. They blame it on magnetite deposits in the ground or meteorite debris scattered around the desert. Sure, that might explain a few weird things, but it definitely doesn't cover the UFO sightings, fireballs rolling down mountains, and, oh yeah, a US military rocket mysteriously crash landing right in the middle of it. This zone got its name in 1966 when an oil exploration team sent by Mexico's national oil company, Pemex, noticed their radios stopped working. Their leader, Augusto Harry de la Peña, was so annoyed that he dubbed it the Zone of Silence. Little did he know, the name would stick, and for good reason. Fast forward to July 11, 1970. The US Air Force launches an Athena rocket from a base in Utah. It was supposed to land safely in New Mexico. Instead, it went wildly off course and crash-landed right in the heart of the zone, at 2 a.m. Now, let's be real. This isn't just some ordinary rocket. This was a military-grade upper-atmosphere research rocket, and it decided to take an unplanned detour into the most mysterious part of Mexico. Coincidence? Or maybe the real owners of the zone, aliens obviously, weren't too happy about the US messing around in their territory. And it doesn't stop there. For generations, people living around the zone have reported encounters with strange beings, mysterious lights in the sky, and, my personal favorite, fireballs rolling down mountains like they own the place. Imagine just chilling in your desert ranch when suddenly a massive flaming sphere starts tumbling down a hill, like it's auditioning for an action movie. That's the kind of energy we're dealing with here. So, is the Zone of Silence just a quirky magnetic anomaly, or is it a hotspot for extraterrestrial activity? I know where I'm placing my bets. 7. The Fairy Circles. Welcome to Namibia's Namib Desert, another proof of alien existence, home to some of the most bizarre formations on the planet. Perfectly round, empty circles dotting the landscape in patterns so precise, they must have been made by something unnatural. Now, for decades, people have been scratching their heads trying to figure out what's going on. Want some theories? Oh, there are plenty. Aliens, because obviously. Dragons, which honestly would be amazing. Giant sand termites, the most boring explanation possible. Scientists have recently doubled down on the termite theory, claiming that the bugs eat away at vegetation, leaving behind water reservoirs that allow surrounding grasses to thrive. In other words, termites create these circles on purpose to conserve water. Yeah, right. Just when you thought it couldn't get more ridiculous, another group of researchers comes in with a new theory. The plants are doing it themselves. Yes, according to the latest scientific explanation, the fairy circles are the result of botanical self-organization. The idea is that, since water is scarce, plants naturally arrange themselves into these exact formations to share resources more efficiently. Really? That's the best they've got? Listen, I don't care how random nature is. There's no way plants just decide to organize into perfect geometric patterns across an entire desert for no reason. You expect me to believe the grass is strategizing like some kind of eco-friendly researcher? No chance. And the best part? Even scientists admit they haven't actually proven anything. One researcher flat out said, "It will take an experiment where we artificially create the circles by manipulating water and soil to truly prove the self-organization theory." Translation? We have no idea what's going on, so we made up an answer that sounds smart. Look, I'm not saying it's definitely aliens, but it's definitely not termites. 8. The Hessdalen Lights. Now for the creepiest light show on Earth, the Hessdalen Lights. These weird glowing floaters have been baffling scientists, conspiracy theorists, and casual sky watchers for decades. They flicker, change color, hover, zip across the sky at insane speeds, and sometimes just float there, daring anyone to explain what the heck is going on. And apparently, where there are Hessdalen lights, there are also men in black. Yeah, you heard me. We're talking about those shadowy, suited-up figures who always seem to show up whenever something too mysterious starts attracting attention. Eyewitnesses claim that these guys, dressed in classic dark suits and hats, have been seen lurking around Hessdalen, especially when people start getting too close to the truth. Some say they stand back and observe, like they're taking notes. Others claim they've actually approached people, sometimes offering cryptic explanations, other times issuing flat-out warnings to back off. Now, skeptics will tell you this is all just folklore, a case of overactive imaginations mixed with late-night ghost stories. But the believers? Oh, they have theories. Some think the men in black are government agents, keeping tabs on whatever bizarre activity is happening in Hesse-Dalen. Others say they might not even be human, extraterrestrials in disguise, making sure we don't mess with their technology. And then there's the classic cover-up theory. Whatever's happening in Hesse-Dalen, someone doesn't want us to know the truth. So what the heck are they? Now scientists have tried their best to come up with an explanation, and to be fair, some of their ideas are kinda convincing. One theory is that the lights are caused by electrical discharges triggered by the valley's high levels of radon gas. Basically, mini lightning bolts that form in the air, glowing like orbs before fading away. Sounds reasonable, right? Except, that doesn't explain why some lights sit completely still in the sky for minutes, while others zoom off like UFOs. It also doesn't explain why the lights change colors, pulse, or appear in different shapes, sometimes as orbs, columns, or even clusters of lights moving together. Final verdict, still a total mystery. 9th, Rendlesham Forest. If you've ever spent too much time in UFO forums, guilty as charged, you've probably heard of the Rendlesham Forest incident. But if not, let me introduce you to one of the most bizarre and well-documented UFO encounters in history. It all went down between December 26th and 27th, 1980 in Rendlesham Forest, which happens to sit between two U.S. Air Force bases, Woodbridge and Bentwaters, on England's east coast. Now, when I say this event is still wrapped in secrecy, I mean full-on classified documents, government denials. We don't talk about this secrecy. But thanks to some relentless civilian researchers, we've got just enough details to make your brain explode. Just past midnight on December 26th, military personnel and radar operators spotted something unusual, a mysterious object zooming across the sky before vanishing into the dense forest. So naturally, they sent a few soldiers to investigate, and oh boy, did they find something. Sitting there, glowing like it belonged in a sci-fi movie, was a triangular-shaped craft about 10 feet wide and 8 feet tall, resting on 3 legs. Before anyone could get too close, the thing retracted its legs, because apparently UFOs come with retractable landing gear now, and started gliding through the trees like it had a personal GPS. The soldiers chased after it, desperate to see more, when suddenly it shot up into the sky, blasting them with a beam of light. And just like that, blackout. Next thing they knew, they were back in the forest, confused, dazed, and probably questioning every life decision they'd ever made. When backup arrived, they found strange landing marks on the ground where the craft had rested. But wait, it gets even weirder. The next night, Deputy Base Commander Lieutenant Column Charles Halt decided he wasn't about to miss out on the action. So, he took a team into the forest to check things out himself. He found the landing site, and wouldn't you know it, radiation levels were off the charts. Meanwhile, another group of soldiers exploring a different part of the woods spotted a glowing red light floating inside some kind of pulsating fog. They called Halt's team over, and before they knew it, the light was heading straight for them, spewing out a waterfall of rainbow colors like a cosmic disco ball. And just when you think that's as wild as it gets, the second team witnessed a glowing, domed object where shadowy figures were moving inside. Figures moving inside. For an entire hour, both groups watched these strange lights darting around the sky, performing maneuvers that made zero sense by human standards. Despite official denials, multiple sources have confirmed that films and photographs were taken of the incident. Of course, the government never lets us see them. Oh, and one more thing. U.S. Senator James Exon did his own hush-hush investigation into Rendlesham, and later admitted he found additional information that linked this case to other unexplained UFO incidents. But did he ever tell us what that information was? Nope. 10. The Gate of the Gods. Now for a favorite story of mine. This one's set in 1996 when a local tour guide named Jose Luis Delgado Mamani was out exploring the Hayumarca mountain near Lake Titicaca when he stumbled across something straight out of an Indiana Jones movie. Carved directly into the rock was a massive T-shaped door measuring about 23 feet high and 23 feet wide, with a circular depression at the center. It looked ancient. way older than anything from the Incan era, and quickly became known as Aramu Muru, or the Puerta de Hayu Marca, aka the Gate of the Gods. Now, what's wild about this structure is that it seems to serve absolutely no purpose. At least, no purpose we understand. There's no passage, no tunnel, just a massive door-shaped carving into solid rock. Some experts think it might have had astronomical or ceremonial significance, but others, and I'm firmly in this camp, believe it's something much crazier. A freaking interdimensional portal. I mean, think about it. How is it that with all our modern machinery, we can't open a simple rock door? Maybe it's because we're not supposed to. Maybe someone, or something, is keeping it locked. Who knows what's hiding on the other side? Advanced alien technology? A lost civilization? A straight-up passage to another world? But don't just take my word for it. Peruvian legends say this thing is more than just a pretty rock formation. According to Native American myths, ancient heroes used the gate to visit their gods and gain immortality. Some even returned with the gods to check in on their earthly kingdoms. This idea of a stargate isn't unique to Peru either. Sumerian legends also talk about portals that allowed people to travel between realms. And then there's the legend of Aramu Maru himself, an Incan priest who supposedly escaped the Spanish conquest by sneaking off into the mountains with a golden disc, the key of the gods of the seven rays. According to the story, he and some other priests performed a ritual at the gate, which then opened up in a blaze of light. Aramu Maru stepped through, never to be seen again. Some people even claim that, to this day, a faint light can be seen glowing from the tunnel where he disappeared. So, is it just a fascinating legend, or could this really be an ancient abandoned portal to another dimension? I'll let you decide. 11. The Boiling River. The aliens must really like Peru, because that's not the only tinkering they've done in the area. Deep in the Amazon, there's a river that straight up boils. Yeah, you heard me. A river so hot it can literally cook anything that falls into it. And no, before you ask, there are 0 volcanoes anywhere near it, so they're not the ones heating it up. Not a single one. Now, locals have been talking about this fiery river for centuries, passing down tales of conquistadors who marched into the jungle looking for gold and came back with nightmare fuel instead. They raved about poisoned waters, monstrous snakes, and, most terrifying of all, a river that bubbled and frothed like a cauldron from hell itself. And get this, the water isn't just warm, it's scorching. We're talking an average temperature of 86 degrees Celsius. That's hot enough to kill. Sure, we have hot springs around the world, but they are usually tiny little pools, not an entire river that stretches for nearly 4 miles, reaching widths of 82 feet and depths of almost 20 feet. That's not normal. But the thing is, the closest volcanic system is over like 400 miles away. So, what the hell is heating this thing? Is it literal hell? No one knows. Seriously, science is stumped. But I'll tell you what, I don't think Mother Nature did this one on her own. Someone, or something, built it. And that, my friends, is the real mystery. And that's all from me today. Do you think I've made a good enough case for the aliens and their presence on our planet? Or are you still skeptical? Let me know in the comments. See you next time.